The fort of Agra is situated some 200 kilometers away from Delhi. It was one of the 3 strategic forts built by the Mughal emperors. It enjoyed great prestige and significance when Agra served as their capital.
आगरा कभी भी बड़ा कैपिटल नहीं था। दिल्ली था, लाहौर था, इलाहाबाद था, ये सब जगह बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट थी। आगरा छोटा सा शहर था। लेकिन जो लोदी बादशाह थे, ख़ासतौर पर सिकंदर लोदी, उनका झगड़ा और फतूहात का सिलसिला राजस्थान से लगा हुआ था। दिल्ली से राजस्थान पर नज़र रखना थोड़ा उसको मुश्किल लगता था। इस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से उन्होंने अपना कैपिटल दिल्ली से बदल के आगरा कर दिया।
Emperor Akbar got this fort constructed after demolishing an old Rajput fort. After him, Jahangir modified the structures commissioned by his father to serve his needs. Shah Jahan cast it in a new mold as per his ambitious designs. Aurangzeb used it very differently as per his needs.
Akbar best described Agra as the emporium of the traffic of the world. The whole north, south, east, west traffic of India converged upon Agra, and therefore the idea of putting up his capital in Agra, moving from Delhi, was well justified.
When the Mughals built this fort, there was no power in the land that could challenge their might. This is the reason that one doesn't see the defensive armor that is encountered in other forts. The walls protecting the fort aren't very high, nor are they grand towers.
Because of its double fortification, and in between the double fortification also there is a moat, and then again outside the fort there is one more moat. So it was a very well secured fort. That is why exactly the reason the treasury was always kept inside Agra fort itself. Even when the capital was, the Darul Khilafat was shifted to Delhi, it was the treasury was never shifted to this place. It was always kept there.
One has to pass through many reinforced gates to enter the fort. These are built in the Rajput style and are guarded by tall towers at their sides.
The Agra fort, for instance, is far more robust in terms of its military character than the Shahjahanabad fort. You can clearly see the difference. Its ramparts, its bastions, its parapets look more vigorous and majestic than those of Shahjahanabad, whereas in Shahjahanabad you will see that aesthetic beauty which Shah Jahan really injected into most of its buildings.
The ruins of the Akbar Mahal show a clear influence of Rajput architecture. Historians believe that this palace that served as the residential apartment of Akbar was demolished by Shah Jahan when he was rebuilding this fort. But before he could complete this task, he transferred his capital to Delhi and the work remained unfinished.
The entire planning with the river on one side and the city on the other are aspects which were established in the 16th century planning, both of the fort as well as the city and its linkage which again are reflected in the later Mughal cities and forts. It served sort of a role model again for later planning of fortified cities amongst the Mughals.
Jahangir Mahal is a double-storied building with many rooms. The front side was where the male members of the royal family resided, and the harem in the rear opened on the riverside. Walls and pillars here are decorated with beautiful carvings, and the doors and windows have been so cleverly designed that the play of sunlight and shadows continues all through the day.
An enormous respect to Jodhabai, because it has been built by Rajasthani craftsmen. You can see the way the brackets are built, the jalis are created, and it is perhaps his respect for her heritage that this is a Rajput palace within the fort, and it survived the vagaries of Shah Jahan's later additions. It survived Aurangzeb. It's a clear influence of Rajput architecture in Islamic, and these are the synergies which are so important to understand today.
Jahangir Mahal, started by Akbar and completed by his son, is built in the Rajput style. There are many chambers and courtyards in this complex, built to serve a multitude of purposes.
ये कम्बिनेशन है आगरा किला शाहजहां और अकबर के फोर्ट का। अगर आप देखें तो वही आधे किले में वही एग्रेसिवनेस, अथॉरिटी, पावर, और आधे किले में आधे से ज़्यादा बड़े हिस्से में एस्थेटिक सेंस, लग्जरी, एन्जॉयमेंट, ये सब आपको नज़र आता है।
Nur Jahan, the wife of Jahangir, was not only a woman of exquisite taste, she also took keen interest in administration. The fort was partly built under her supervision. Mughal miniature paintings tell us that the gardens, laid out like Persian carpets, are her contribution. Khas Mahal was used by Shah Jahan as his bedroom. It has two pavilion-like large halls, of which one was for Shah Jahan and the other for his darling daughter Jahanara. This palace is decorated with beautiful arches in the Islamic style of Central Asian palaces. The miniature paintings of the Badshahnama tell us of the dazzling lifestyle of those who dwelt here. The Mughal Empire was at its zenith, and the rulers and their courtiers spent their days in non-stop celebrations.
जो जहांगीर की बिल्डिंग हैं वो अपने अंदाज़ की हैं, लेकिन लाल पत्थर का जोर है। अकबर की बिल्डिंग अपने अंदाज़ की हैं, उनमें भी लाल पत्थर का जोर है, लेकिन खूबसूरती, हुनरकारी से, फनकारी से बिल्डिंग बनने का कारोबार का जिम्मेदारी जो है वो शाहजहाँ की है। और संगमरमर का इस्तेमाल और रंगीन पत्थरों से फुलकारी, ये सब चीज़ें जो हैं ये बड़े पैमाने के ऊपर शाहजहाँ ने की।
The Sheesh Mahal in Agra was built by Shah Jahan. Artificial light created a magical atmosphere by multiplying hundreds of reflections of the same person or a single object. There was a time when the walls of the Sheesh Mahal were gilded with gold. With the decline of the Mughal Empire, these were plundered by various invaders. The Diwani Khas is a magnificent pavilion where Jahangir and Shah Jahan held their courts. The place is decorated with beautiful pillars and floral designs carved on marble walls. It was in this hall that Shah Jahan had felicitated Dara Shikoh and Aurangzeb after their victorious military campaigns. This was also the venue for birthday and wedding celebrations of the sovereigns. Diwani Arm is open on three sides, with the Emperor's throne placed at a height. All public functions were held here. This is where talented artists and musicians performed.
Buildings are all added into each other, so that very sort of clear symmetry which one is supposed to see in Islamic architecture, it's a little more organic here. Buildings are knit around and into each other, perhaps defined by the fact that the fort itself is not absolutely geometric, but there it is, each palace tucks into the other.
Nagina Masjid is a small mosque that was built in 1637. Two galleries run parallel to its Qibla wall. An even smaller mosque is attached to it that was perhaps used as a women's mosque. To the north of the Diwani Arm is the exceptionally beautiful Moti Masjid that reminds us of the mosque built by Shah Jahan in Ajmer near the Dargah of the Sufi saint Sheikh Moinuddin Chishti. The interior space of the mosque is partitioned by pillared galleries. The main attraction of the front is 7 beautiful arches balanced with 3 small domes.
Like other forts in medieval India, here in the fort in Agra, we encounter the buildings which are seen elsewhere. Diwan-e Aam, Diwan-e Khas, halls of public and private audience, Jharokhas, balconies, where from the Imperial Majesty provided a glimpse of himself to his people. We have palaces, beautiful palaces, dwellings for princes and princesses, Khab Mahal, Khas Mahal, We have beautiful gardens and of course places of worship like the Moti Masjid. For some who dwelt here, this place was better than paradise. But there were an unfortunate few confined to the dungeons for whom it was worse than hell. Perhaps the most famous prisoner held in captivity here, besides of course Shah Jahan himself, was Chhatrapati Shivaji. Chhatrapati Shivaji managed to escape from captivity and resumed his fight against the Mughals. The passage through which he escaped is famous today as the Shivaji Darwaza.
A lot of space inside the fort was reserved for a prison. Persons who had incurred the wrath of the emperor were jailed here. This is where Aurangzeb had incarcerated Chhatrapati Shivaji. He succeeded in escaping from custody with great guile and daring. This event changed the course of Indian history.
Shivaji was invited, then he was made to stand in the Diwan-e-Aam and he was belittled also, which made him angry, and then he started his whole movement against the Mughal army, because unless he was not belittled, he would have joined hands with Mughals like that of Rajputs. But that was a turning point in the life of Mughals also, in the life of Shivaji also.
Ratan Singh ki Haveli came up when the Jat forces had occupied this fort in the 18th century. This has courtyards in typical Hindu Haveli style, and the walls and pillars have been adorned with Hindu symbols and motifs.
Akbar built it very much in the genre of red sandstone because that is how he built in respect of the local material. It was Shah Jahan who sought further embellishment, and he further beautified the Diwan-e-Aam, redeveloped the Diwan-e-Khas, introducing little marble pavilions and the Machi Bhavan and this Anguri Bagh, which was all stages of great refinement in Mughal architecture in India. Of course, the most notable part of Agra Fort is the Musamman Burj, sort of at the end of the king's and queen's chambers, and it is from where Shah Jahan watched the Taj Mahal being built.
Musamman Burj is a beautiful structure overlooking the river Yamuna. Its walls have miniature alcoves where flower cases and other art objects could be placed. A water fountain in the shape of a large lotus is part of its decorations.
The marble inlay work in the fort is the pinnacle of architectural refinement. I think the Taj Mahal is the great Mughal achievement in India, but in a smaller, more intimate way, the manner in which it is articulated in the various palaces of the fort is extraordinary.
It is said that the Musamman Burj was personally designed by Noor Jahan. Later, Shah Jahan embellished it with inlay work wrought in precious coloured stones. It is here that Shah Jahan spent long hours dreaming of the Taj Mahal and viewing it when it was completed.
In prison, that loneliness, that sense of betrayal, that sense of not having been able to cope with reality in full measure. These are some of the emotions that you will find hang in these forts. If you cannot but feel a little sad, a little melancholy.
The fort, declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, is where Mughal emperors had dreamt of glory and inspired a confluence of Hindu and Islamic architectural styles. This endeavour has left an indelible imprint on Indian civilization.